Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning. Today is January 15th, 2025. We get together most weekday mornings with our distribution partners to talk about strategies, tips, share techniques, success stories, and support each of you. Frequently, we get requests for scripts, sales scripts, how to present best practices for presenting how the Shelf Corp works to be able to close more deals. Because obviously, we want to help clients by getting them a fundable business and then getting funding. And we want to help you all optimize your income. On my screen, you see the funding comparison sheet. And so we're going to call this the long pitch. And so each of you should have a copy of this. It's editable. It's in Microsoft Word. You'll change the bottom with your contact information, but it allows you to walk a prospect through a comparison of what they would get from you, from us, with the fundable Shelf Corp in this first column, and compare it to other options that they're considering. Well, concurrently, what it does is it also allows us to identify the key features and benefits because that's what each of these lines are. Now, of course, we've dropped this down to 0, but regardless, if you're using the comparison sheet, that's fine. It is more of a longer conversation than what we're going to show today. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on what one of our top sales partners does. His name's Ernest. He's given us permission to share his secret today. And if you come to our in-person training, typically Ernest is there and he actually teaches sales skills at our in-person trainings. But regardless, let's go through the Ernest model, what he proclaims, and I don't sit with him, so I don't know if this number is accurate. I think it's probably too conservative, is how he closes 90% of the people he talks to. And we're going to go through exactly how he does it. So we'll go through that. We'll answer your questions. And then, of course, what's the goal? Take this information and be able to go apply it to go make money today. This week, we're running the promotion to help us, to help you, to be able to enroll more clients in the Fundable Shelf Corp. We've completely eliminated the out of pocket. So this is an outdated version of this flyer, but so it's actually 0 out of pocket, 0. If you can't, as a reseller, if you can't use this Ernest model and start closing deals, you probably shouldn't be a reseller. And I hate to be that brash. But if you get to know Ernest better, he's a good guy, but he's very direct. He has funny little snippets. Like he says, if you listen to your radio when you drive your car, you're driving the wrong car. He loves fast cars. He loves powerful cars. He wants to hear the turbos whine or the superchargers whine. He wants to hear the power of his car. So Ernest is great. He's very direct. Thank you, Ernest, for sharing with us today or giving us permission to share with everyone today your approach. So let's go ahead and go through the Ernest model. At any time, if you have questions, type them into the Q&A. What we're going to do afterwards is hopefully go apply this knowledge so you're helping people making money. All right, so we're going to start with the 3 questions to ask. So if you don't have your pencil and paper, probably a good time to grab it. We're going to go through the Ernest model, which allows you to close over 90% of your prospects. And we're going to start with question number 1. And I bet every one of you already knows what question number 1 is. You may not know the other 2 questions, but I bet you know question number 1. Are you looking for funding to start or grow a business? Very similar to the top sentence over here on the comparison sheet. If someone can't verbalize yes to that, there's no reason to continue the conversation with them because they're not ready to move forward. If they're not looking for funding, you're barking up the wrong tree. Now, again, you could still cultivate the relationship. You could still educate them. You could still become buddies with them, but they're really not an active prospect. So Ernest is very direct. Great guy, very, very successful, makes more money in a month than most of us do in a year, but he's going to not waste his time. I see so many of our distribution partners, they're wasting their time. If you don't have a live prospect, meaning someone that's looking for funding, you need to move on. Otherwise, you're not really working the sales funnel. Any questions on number one? We're going to go through this bit by bit because I need to make sure that at the end of today's discussion that all of you can go replicate what Ernest is doing. There's no reason that this man has a comma, has 6 digits, I should say, in his monthly income when some of you as resellers don't even have a comma. That's what I meant to say. So Ernest is a 6-figure earner. If you follow his model, 6-figure a month earner. Every one of you should be able to replicate this. Any questions or concerns on question number one? You can change the wording a bit, and you can see that this is a variation of what's on the flyer, but we're figuring out right away, do we have a real prospect? Make sense? How many of you are starting your sales conversations with this question currently or something similar to it? Yes or no? Just take a moment and respond to the Q&A. Yes or no? Mr. Brown, Mr. Barchi, we got 423 of you on. Just curious, take a moment and respond yes or no. When you're talking to a prospect, is this the first thing out of your mouth? Yes or no? Mr. Keller says yes. Ms. Mitchell says no. Now, again, if what you're doing is working, do it your way. And we'll talk about your model tomorrow. I'm just giving you the real method that one of our top producers uses. Do you have to use it? No. But does it work? Yes. All right. So I would say the majority of you are opening your conversations the same way that Ernest is. Great. And it makes sense, right? I don't think there's much confusion about that. Now, where do we go from there? This is where it varies a lot. So let's move on to the second question. And this shouldn't be a surprise. This is very consistent with what we've talked about on prior trainings. Then you follow right up because you're going to get a yes or no out of them. You don't want to allow people to hee-haw and tell you their life story. We want a yes or no, and then Ernest is going to fire right off. Okay, great. Do you currently have a fundable business? Because what do you and I know? It doesn't matter how badly you want money. It doesn't matter how badly you need money. What matters is, do you have a fundable business? Now, you and I know that this is a loaded question. It's frankly an unfair question because most people are financially illiterate when it comes to business fundability. They don't even know what it takes to have a fundable business. But at least you're getting them thinking, you're getting them engaged, and they're either going to say yes or no because you want a yes or no. Now, of course, if they say yes, then great. They don't even need our help. They should be down at the bank right now applying for their loan, their line of credit, whatever it is they want. But very, very few people have a fundable business. And in fact, most don't even know what it takes to have a fundable business. We had a really good conversation yesterday where we broke down what it means to have a fundable business. If you missed yesterday's training, please go back and view it. So what we really want them to acknowledge, what Ernest would say we want them to acknowledge is they don't have a fundable business. So they want something, but they don't qualify for it. And you're wanting them to verbalize it, not just to think it, to verbalize. Yes, I'm looking for funding to start or grow a business. No, I don't have a fundable business. Now, it could be that they'll respond yes out of ignorance. And I don't mean ignorance negative. It's just most people are not trained on what it means to have a fundable business. Again, yesterday, I think we did a good job discussing it. So the bottom line is, if they answer yes, you want to dig a little deeper. If they're intelligent or at least knowledgeable about business finance, 99 out of 100 are going to say, no, I don't have a fundable business. Okay, so we're already 2/3 of the way through the questions. We only have one more. So here's his closing statement. If I could give you a legally compliant fundable shelf corp with no upfront cost that will be ready to go to funding in 1 week, would you be willing to give it a try? Yes or no? So let's pause right there. What feedback do you have? Jessica, Frank, Bernard, what feedback do you have off of this kind of going for the jugular? So he doesn't spend 30 minutes talking about the benefits, the features. He doesn't ask about their children, their grandchildren, their hobbies. He's going to say this: if I could give you a legally compliant fundable shelf corp with no upfront cost that will be ready to go to funding in 1 week, would you be willing to give it a try? Yes or no? What do you think? What's your feedback on Ernest's close? Now, I realize not everyone's going to move forward at that point. We're going to address that. But what's your feedback? Now, with that being said, he's going to stop talking. I think some of you are so well spoken, so smart that a lot of you have a lot to say. You're kind of what they would call chatty, and chatty kills deals. Ask these 3 questions if you want to try the Ernest model. And then what do? You stop talking and you have them sign the contract. How do you have them sign the contract? Well, if you're on the phone with them, you want to have a link, a DocuSign link, an Adobe link, whatever e-signature format you have your Shelf Corp agreement in, have a link, text it to them, and walk them through having them sign it right then. Now, if you're face to face with them, maybe you slide a piece of paper across the table, but that's very rare in today's environment. You're normally going to text them while you're giving them this spiel, your link to your contract. If you don't have your contract, because we provided each of you an editable version of the client agreement. You needed to remove our information, put yours on, change pricing how you want. If you don't have that done, if you don't have that agreement ready for clients to sign, you're not open for business. You're maybe preparing to be open for business, but you're not open for business. It shouldn't be that difficult. From within 30 minutes of the time that you receive the reseller packet, you should be open for business, ready to start making money every day. So, any questions on this? Now, we're going to overcome some objections here in just a second. We're not done with the conversation, but these are the 3 questions. Well, I guess these are the 3 questions and then the instructions. Some of you, God bless you, you don't know how to edit a Word document. You don't know how to set up a DocuSign. You're going to find someone to help you, or you're not able to enroll any clients. You're kind of wasting your time. So find someone that can help you technologically. Take the editable Word document, take our information off, put yours on, change pricing the way you want, have it ready, text them while you're having this conversation. So all they need to do is look down. Don't be fumbling around. Don't seem incompetent, because I know you're not. Text them the agreement, have them sign it while you're on the phone. Okay, let's move on. So does that work all the time? Of course not. Most of the time, yes. So there's more. So what happens if they don't sign at that point? So now we're going to go a little deeper into the Ernest model. All right, so if they don't sign, you're going to reply with the following. So now you're going to come back with some confidence and hit them with some bullet points, or at least that's what Ernest does. Are you ready? Look, I've only got one of these shelf corps left that's ready for funding. Pause. So what do you do with that? You're creating urgency. You're creating scarcity. You're going to create motivation. Because otherwise, I could sit and think about it for the next 18 years, and I'll come back in July of whatever that would be, 2038, and then I'll sign up then. So he'll go ahead and create urgency if they didn't already sign. Furthermore, he's going to say, look, no upfront cost, no risk, and it includes the 100,000 transfer in 24 hours. He further says, I have business lenders ready to loan money. How much funding do you want? So there wasn't a response asked from the prospect here. It was a statement, another statement, a statement, and then finally a pause with a question. How much funding do you want? And then he waits for them to respond. So Ernest stops talking. Prospect responds to this question, preferably with a specific dollar amount, and you have them sign the contract. How do you have them sign the contract? You have already texted to them back when we were in the earlier part of the conversation. And then Ernest's approach is he'll end the conversation. His time is valuable. Often we work with people that are struggling financially, so they often have a lot of time on their hands, and so they get, again, real chatty. Your time's valuable. If this joker doesn't want to sign, move on. Move on. He or she has the contract. You've texted them the link. You can provide them extra resources if you want, videos, flyers, what have you. But your time's too valuable. Move on to the next. So, what are you going to say after they sign? Hey, congratulations on your new shelf corp. Our back office team's going to be getting with you within 24 hours. We'll get your file processed. And then don't get bogged down. So, in our relationship with you as a reseller, we're doing all the implementation. You're not burdened with doing any of the work. Develop the client, close the client. We do all the work. So give them a positive affirmation. Great job. Congratulations, if I can spit it out, on your new shelf corp. Our back office team's going to be getting with you within 24 hours. What are you going to do? You're going to upload the client's agreement into the Dropbox that we set up for you, and then we're going to get to work. Our resources here at the bottom of the page never change. I don't think they're the same. If you're not a reseller but want to become one, didn't cost you anything, there's not even a contract to sign, email us, we'll send you the packet. We've had a bunch of resellers sign up, and it's really interesting. Some of the resellers will send them the packet, they'll receive the packet, they'll open the packet, and then they'll contact us, I never received the packet. I'm like, I don't know what kind of bizarro world we're in. Because I know sometimes emails can go in spam or get caught in filters or what have you. But people will get the damn packet, open it, and then they'll still be like, I didn't receive it. But anyway, if you don't have it, email us and we'll send it to you again. That's okay. You need to talk to someone, talk to Madison. There's her number. And if you want to access past trainings, like yesterday, I think was a really strong training where we went through and we really clarified the elements of having a fundable business, which ties to number 2. So you can go back to yesterday's training. So what is it that any of you need so we can do what? Well, of course, we want to answer your questions, but so we can go make money today. We're running a promotion this week whereby you're able to offer the Shelf Corp with 0 out of pocket. And I know this doesn't say 0 because this flyer was developed when it wasn't 0. But at this point, 0 out of pocket. If what you're doing is working, then obviously keep doing it. But if what you're doing is not working, I would say get some leads from Kyle. We've talked about that. If you need Kyle's information, you can get with Madison. Kyle can get you leads, go through this process, try it for a couple of days. But we're kind of at the point with some of you, if you're not going to produce, we're going to take the reseller status away. Because if you can't enroll clients in a fundable Shelf Corp with this value proposition and now no upfront cost, you're not a good fit to be a reseller. And it's okay. There's other things that you can do. All right, Jessica says she hasn't heard back from Madison, so I apologize for that. I know Madison can get busy. I would say give her another call. Now, we've had, and I'm not saying it's the case with you, Jessica, we've had people that would call in, leave a message, will call back, their voicemail's full, or they don't have voicemail. So then some people think, well, we never called them back. But Madison's pretty damn good about following up. So Jessica, give Madison a call back. And if she doesn't get with you, let us know. But I don't think that'll happen. Of course, you can also email if you need a slower response. But sorry about that, Jessica. All right. Let's see. And so, Michael, you're asking questions and you're making it too complicated. So what I'm going to ask each of you to do, if you're not producing at least a deal a day right now, I'd like you to try the Ernest model. And so we've gone through the Ernest model. Try it, because what will happen is some of you are so fucking smart, you'll overcomplicate it and you'll get people distracted and they're thinking about all different things and they come up with a million questions. Don't do it. Notice Ernest isn't spending a lot of time talking about the features. He's just talking about the benefits. I'm going to get you funding through a shelf corp with no upfront cost. It's going to be ready in a week. Let's give it a try. So I know some of you are engineers and doctors, and you have such technical mind patterns that you want to almost create objections so you don't make any money, so you don't sell any shelf corps. Stop that. Follow the Ernest model. Just try it, because you're giving the client what they want. You're solving their problem in a legal and ethical way, and you've overcome the biggest objection you normally would have faced, which is, oh, I don't want to pay anything up front. They pay nothing up front through the promotion we're running this week. Give it a try. Give it a try. All right. Other questions, comments, concerns? Is everyone willing to give this a try? Now, you have to have leads, right? Because if you don't have leads, there's no one to talk to. So this doesn't address, oh, shit, I don't have any leads. You need leads. All right. Jessica's asking about the 100,000, and that's a fair question. So the first 100,000 that goes to them is the AR, which we can liquidate, because we need 7 days to be able to get, which was referred to as 1 week. 7 days equals 1 week. We need 1 week to get all the documentation in order to go to funding. So that's right. The first 100,000 is AR, and that's referenced, right? It's right here on the flyer. So if you're coming in kind of new, you may benefit from going back and viewing some of the prior trainings. But the 100,000, which is Jessica's question, the 100,000 in 24 hours matches what's in the agreement, matches what's on the flyer. We're transferring AR. We'll liquidate that AR. But yes, we're helping them get funding. Some people are not very sophisticated and they can't understand that there's a difference between this AR and the loan financing funding that we're going after a week. Those are two different things, two different benefits. All right. Frank says he's going to give it a try. Now, Frank, did you end up hitting your 3 to 5 deals yesterday? Just curious. Did anyone hit their goals yesterday? Because if you're doing really well, we'd like to know more about that. And then tomorrow we can teach your model. But Ernest has it figured out. He's doing an average of 4 to 5 deals a day. So it's not get rich quick. It's not like being famous or winning the lottery, but he's doing really well for himself. And he gave us permission to share with you his model, the 3 questions he asks, when he pauses, and the importance of having your contract ready to give to someone to sign. I suspect I'd be scared to ask, so I won't. I suspect out of our resellers, I bet half of our resellers don't even have their contract ready for a client to sign. It's horrible. So this is kind of a litmus test. How many shelf corps can you sell, which helps clients, helps you make money? But if we get to the end of the week and you've not been able to convert even one, we may revisit the decision to have you as a reseller, because a reseller that does nothing is not a good use of our time. We've capped the number of resellers that we want to have to make sure that we can properly support them. So if you want to be a reseller, great. Cost nothing, no contract to sign, but you need to produce. All right, well, thanks everyone. We'll see you back soon. Bye-bye.